So, welcome to Empowered Pinay Beyond Borders, where we celebrate the Filipino achievements and their stories in making the world a better place to live in. I'm Ria.
And I'm Marinka, and today we have a very special guest joining us. She is a seasoned HR professional with experience working in the Philippines and Australia. So please welcome Miss Nora. Hi, Miss Nora. Thank you again for joining us and for lending your precious time with us. How are you?
I am really good. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Inka. Thank you, Miss Ria. Nice seeing you again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's always
likewise.
good to see you and your beautiful hair. As usual, we are your fans. No, I won't
Oh,
ask what
wow.
shampoo are you using
Thank
because
you.
we don't have any endorsements here. But
Endorsement yet?
yeah,
I wish.
yeah. Yes, but let's dive right in. So I think the audience here would really like to know like how you can share your journey with us and how do you really land that HR profession in Australia and not in the Philippines?
Yes, okay. It started with the change in the circumstance in my personal life, personal and family life. I really had no intention of coming to Australia at all for, but a very sudden thing happened. My late husband passed away 22 years ago. And that gave me since then, of course, as we know in the Philippines, when the main provider in the family in the Philippines is gone,
Mhm.
changes happen, challenges come on our way. Same thing happened to me, my family. Since then, lifestyle changed. Therefore, goals pop up in my brain. And that goal is, of course, to have that consistency in having that comfortable life because
Mhm.
lifestyle changed. Now, and of course, thinking of my family, my daughter, and of course, my family as a whole, um, I really wanted to have that consistency in giving them a comfortable life. So there was, I met the CEO of the company who sponsored me to come here in Australia, offered the HR job with me after knowing that I had 15 years of experience in the Philippines anyway, and that would qualify me to come to Australia and do the same thing, continue doing the same thing. Um, so I took the opportunity. It was very hard at first because it would mean leaving my family behind and coming to Australia alone, knowing no one. Um, but it changed my perspectives. And that's how I ended up working in HR here in Australia. It's really about having that opportunity. I took the opportunity, and that opportunity, and I saw that opportunity, and I found that opportunity by exploring, and it's because my personal and family life challenges that I have experienced gave me that thinking of, I need to do something.
Mhm. Yeah. Wow. So you mentioned earlier that you've been an HR professional in the Philippines for about 15 years prior to moving to Australia. And we understand that you've been to Australia for several years now. So what are the key differences that you have noticed, like working, between the Philippines versus Australia? Just couple differences that you have noticed.
Yeah, the differences really are mainly on the implementation of employment laws
Mm.
because HR is about that. Um,
Mhm.
as an HR professional, my main role, very specific as a business partner, as a senior HR business partner for the organization, my role is to provide guidance to the organization, and as a manager as well. My role is to provide guidance to everyone at all levels in the organization. And in order for me to provide the guidance, it would mean me having that knowledge and skills in order to implement that knowledge about the employment law. And the difference is about, in the Philippines, we have the Department of Labor and Employment, of course, the laws there. And that's our regulator in the Philippines when it comes to employers implementing rules to employees, to the staff. Here in Australia, it's Fair Work Australia. The difference really is about the entitlements and entitlements and obligations of both employers and employees. The entitlements for if you are full-time, part-time, casual, and all that. I wouldn't go through all those because we don't have enough time for that, but really implementation of the entitlements and obligations of employers and staff. That's one thing that's different. It's not, well, of course, in the Philippines and Australia, it's still about employers making sure that they're doing the right thing for the staff, for the employees. It's just how things are being done. The difference as well is how flexible we are in giving that flexibility to our staff. Making sure, because now mental health is something. In the Philippines, it's also a very, well, people focus on mental health now more compared to 20 years ago. That's why it's also very important in the Philippines now. However, before it was taken really seriously in the Philippines, here in Australia, way long before it was already very, it was already something that's people focused on. So again, that's the difference. When I came here, that was, let's say, 17 years ago, the talk about mental health, it's not as focused as now. Of course, compare Philippines, Australia, like that. So that's why work flexibility is very important, that we focus here in Australia. It's not the 9 to 5, usually Monday to Friday thing now. And again, COVID came.
Yeah.
And the flexibility when it comes to, okay, work from home and all that. I know that in the Philippines, even in America, of course, we do the same thing when it comes to being employers being flexible to staff. However, the way we do things here in Australia, of course, still different compared to how we do it in the Philippines. That's the difference. Privacy and privacy when it comes to talking to people, collecting something from people. That's the difference that I saw. Privacy rules observed. We know that it's being observed in the Philippines, in Australia, in America, wherever we go. However, again, it depends on how we do things, wherever we are. Example of that is when we submit CV in the Philippines. I know that they still put photos in CV. Here in Australia, we don't do that anymore because that can be construed as, if you are the one reviewing the CV or the qualification of the candidate, it could be construed as, if you did not consider that person for the role, they could think that, oh, they discriminate me because my photo wasn't that good, or I wasn't good in that photo. So just to avoid that sort of thinking, we'd rather not look at the photo at all. So that's one difference that I have noticed. Yeah.
If it's me, I will automatically go to LinkedIn and
Yes.
see all the pictures of the person and the events.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's a trend now, right? Like, sorry to interrupt you, but
yeah.
HR professional, you go to social media. That's
Yeah.
what I heard. Like you go to LinkedIn and there's social media to check. So yeah. And you mentioned about, the flexibility. I'm very interested with that, but I know we don't have time. So hopefully we'll have another session with Miss Nora, because I'm really interested about this topic. Because I'm not an HR professional, but with my line of work, I also manage people. doing some HR roles and responsibilities. I'm really interested to hear more about it. But anyway, so Ria, you have a question for Miss Nora?
Yeah, so this may sound like a more meaty question, but being a Filipina, right, and at the same time, you're working in Australia. So my question is how, when you were still starting, it seems that you became an authority when it comes to executing and implementing laws. And I'm
Mm.
sure in the boardroom where you're seated, there will be like, oh, how good is she? She came from a different country. So how do you navigate this kind of, I don't want to call it politics because politics can be good. Like it can be like managing like the
Yeah.
different officers in an organization. But what's your style in navigating this? Like I am authority, I know this, I can manage you, but this is me. I'm Nora. Right? Take it or leave it. Something like that. Is there any one or two samples that you can share with us and the audience that you have navigated or you have rose above it? That kind of like a not so, may I say, not so smooth
Yeah.
transition in Australia.
Yeah. That's actually a very good question. I'm happy that you asked me that question, Miss Ria, because one thing that I can share is that it's very, very true that I felt anxious at first, exactly
Mm.
for the same reason as what you've just pointed out. Because I was too scared. I was too scared to be criticized because people would think of me, and that's exactly what I had in my brain when I first came here. I what I did was that I anticipated that. So first I anticipated that, therefore I prepared for that. In order to prepare for that, I made sure I made sure that I understood what is it that I needed to do in order to be able to emerge in situations like that. So okay, I've learned that the first thing that I would need to do in order to emerge in that is to get the trust of the people around me. How would I be able to secure the trust of the management, the staff? How would I be able to get them to believe in what I say? So I studied fair work. I mentioned earlier that in the field, the difference is of course our employment laws. The what Dole says in the Philippines and what Fair Work Australia says here in Australia. So I studied, made sure that I'm knowledgeable about fair work in order for me to provide guidance to staff, to the management, because HR is in the middle. Management, employees, staff. At all levels, everyone would come to me. Everyone would ask me questions. Everyone would ask me, what would I do? And because I understand that with HR, most of the time, the people would approach me on a situational manner. Here's the situation. What would I do? This is what's happening with my staff. The manager would come to me. Here's what's happening with my staff. Please help me manage my staff, like that. So I should be able to help them, or I should be able to provide guidance by making sure that I understand employment laws. So that's the first thing that I made sure. And also my communication skills, because if I understand employment laws of Australia, but I won't be able to express myself, I won't be able to explain it in a way that they would understand me, then, so first thing, I made sure that I would be able to express myself. I would be able to explain what needs to be explained. So I developed my, I made sure that I developed my communication skills, and also making sure that I observe, because observing how people react on what I say, that would tell me whether I need to explain more, I need to explain better, because they actually did not get what I said. So that's one
And
thing
you're
as well.
dealing with feelings, eh?
Exactly.
That's a delicate balance. I think now that
Yeah.
I'm just listening to you, I think I am trying to really understood you when you were like 10 years, 7 years ago. It's not easy. It's a
It was.
delicate balance between
Yeah.
the management, how they view you as an authority, and then you are
Exactly.
balancing the feelings of the people around you. And as you said, communication words can either ignite, destroy, or uplift. Depends on the word that you use at that very moment. So kudos to
Exactly.
you, Miss Nora. I think you surpassed
It
those,
it
those humps and
it
still
wasn't
surpassing it.
it wasn't easy because my enemy was myself. Because usually it would be, it came from how I felt about the situation first, and then because of that I needed to study how I would be able to make myself really someone who's able to express and make people around me believe what I say. That's the first thing that I wanted to, and as you said, yeah.
Yeah. Kudos to Miss Nora. I know dealing with people, management, and employees are very difficult for sure. So you mentioned the differences, right, in terms of employment laws between the Philippines and Australia. And for sure, you have encountered some challenges as a Filipina working, in Australia. So how have you navigated those differences and those challenges while working there in Australia?
I'm lucky that as HR professional, what the requirements would be, the qualification and experience. Compared to Miss Universe, for example. If it's Miss Universe, if it's Miss Universe, the requirement would be the face, how tall I would be. Lucky it's about the qualification and experience because
Yep.
I had that. I
Mhm.
had that. And I also was very lucky that my first employer really was very supportive of me. And I even if at first I felt anxious about whether I would be able to secure the trust of the people, is what I was saying earlier. Um, it was very important that I was surrounded with people, especially with the owner of the business, having that trust in me as well. And of course, it was also because I needed to make sure that I understood what's required of me. That's one thing. Navigating, yes, that definitely was one thing that was a bit challenging. However, as I said, because I had a very supportive employer, my first employer here in Australia, I was sponsored. I was sponsored. So meaning, again, I am lucky that when I came here, I did not need to find the job because the job was available already. What I needed to do was just to make sure that I have the capability to perform the role. I'm qualified to do the role. And also I have a very good understanding of, well, making sure that I understand what's required. Otherwise, if I don't, or if I didn't, then I would have dramas. I would have difficulty in navigating things. I would have difficulty in making sure, oh no, what's going on? I know, what will I do? And I was alone here. I did not have anyone here when I first came here, and that would be very, very scary for me. So I feel that in a way I was lucky when I first came here that I had the support of the employer. Yeah.
Yeah, you're yeah, Inka, you have something to say? Because I,
Yeah.
I want to say that lucky and you're blessed. And I
Yes,
just
for
wish that
sure.
a lot of people have that luck,
The same
because right
experience.
now I
Yeah.
know, even if you're so brilliant and you have all the medal from UCLA, um, companies do not just sponsor now. It's hard to get the sponsorship. So you're so blessed. And I think my next question, Inka, you may have question before I ask the next question.
Not really a question, but same comment that yes, Miss Nora is very lucky and blessed to have that kind of experience because not everyone experienced the same thing. Yeah, I mean, you were sponsored, you have a support system, even though you're alone, you have the support system from your employer and the rest of your colleagues, right? So yeah, very blessed.
Oh, you're very blessed.
That, that
So,
that's what I keep on telling. That's what I keep on telling my daughter actually, because that blessing was extended to her.
Yes,
You
for
know,
yeah,
what
sure.
I
the
mean?
whole family, like
Yeah,
riding the glory of a Nora, the
Mhm.
daughter, and even the partner, right? I mean, your lifetime loved ones are also like getting the ripple effect of the blessing because you're already there and you're not alone now. You already
Mhm.
have a tribe. So
yeah.
yeah, so I think I also wanna find out from you, Miss Nora, that having that blessing and that opportunity, you're highly favored, right? Having that kind of a situation. How do you promote how do you promote it? Like, how do you pay it forward? How's your style in terms of as an HR professional leader? How do you make that inclusion? You know, whether you are from Africa or US, Singapore, what's your style in executing the inclusion? And I think the second follow-up question is, have you helped someone or probably a dozen of people like you from different country who is now steadfast in Australia like you?
I again, again, I um, um, talking of being lucky. I am lucky that my role is as HR, because just by performing my role, I already promote diversity. I already promote inclusion just by doing my role, just by doing the work that I do.
Yeah, it's
So
already innate in the role, right? Human
the- eh, eh,
resource is inclusion and camaraderie and peace. Yeah,
exactly, because the role is about people.
Yep.
The role is about making sure that you include everyone. The role is about making sure that you are supposed to be the first advocate of diversity and inclusion. So again, I'm lucky that I am an HR professional where just by doing my job, I am already advocating for diversity and inclusion in everything that I do, whether it's about talking to employees, whether it's about talking to the management, whether it's about making sure that I understand the situation of each and everyone within the organization. And I'm also lucky that what I learned by just doing my job is I have extended the same thing to my family. The way the way I do things within the family, within my household and all that. And
professional and your personal is
that's right. So
really aligned.
what's funny is that actually my husband and my daughter, everyone within the family, every time we have a topic to talk about within the family, they would talk, oh my gosh, you're using your HR, you're being an HR
Yeah,
again.
yeah, we're like
Whatever
in your
I say.
office, mom. Oh, and I think you will always include us in the steak, dinner, right? Inclusion. I remember
Exactly.
Australia is so known to, right? When you go to Sydney, right away, my boss in Oracle, NetSuite will, come on, Ria, come on, everybody, let's eat steak in Sydney.
It's
So
like
that's inclusion.
that's funny. Yeah, that's actually right. So I'm lucky in that aspect.
Yeah, we're just hearing that story of being lucky. So can you share like a specific like success story or accomplishment of being an HR professional in Australia or being moving there in Australia? And again, Ria mentioned you have extended your blessing, to your daughter and to the rest of the family. But can you share that specific accomplishment?
Again, talking about being an HR professional, because we
Mhm,
talk about people when we
mhm,
talk about HR. The greatest accomplishment or achievement that I can say about myself that I am very proud of is um, being successfully in achieving my own self development,
mhm,
my own self improvement, that also helped me develop my self-confidence, because again, I talked earlier about getting trust or securing the trust of everyone around me. In order to get that trust from management, from staff, from everyone, I should have, I should look, I should look at how I am first. So seeing first what I can do, what I know, how I am. So I can say that the biggest achievement that I am proud of is my self-development, my self-improvement, and developing myself, my self-confidence that helped me in performing my role, being an HR professional. In that way, I have gained the trust of everyone. In that way, I am able to provide guidance to everyone. Otherwise, they wouldn't believe what I say at all. So again, expressing myself, being able to express myself and how I have developed personally and professionally. That's my greatest achievement. Inward first, how I see myself first, and believing in myself. And I would be able to believe in myself if I see people believing in me, because that would be my mirror. I would mirror my success based on how I see people see me. In short, I also it's apparent just in thinking that how I progressed from being an HR professional from the Philippines and now HR professional in Australia, because we talked earlier about the challenges that I've been through as well, just the anxiousness of making sure that people believe in what I say and get their trust, that sort of thing. So that's something to me I'm successful in achieving that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to perform my role, especially as a business partner at the moment. And also, what's this? Looking back, I mentioned earlier, 15 years in the Philippines and then now 17 years in Australia, total of 32 years in HR. I really did not do other work other than HR.
HR.
So keeping that, maintaining what I have now in me, that's an achievement. Otherwise, well, for sure other people would be able to do that as well, but maintaining what I have now, because having something is something, but maintaining what you have is another. You know what I mean? So again, I can say that that's my achievement as well. My professional growth, my personal growth, I can feel that within myself. Again, achievement in a way that what I've got now is something that I can share with other people, because I am in my position where I'm able to provide guidance to people. That is also an achievement that I can feel from within myself. Yeah, 32 years.
Wow. 32 years.
32
You
years.
are
I'm
not.
thinking if that's my waistline or my age. I'm confused. No, but
Although that would also tell you my age, but
no, I'm not even thinking of the age. I'm thinking of the growth, my
Mhm.
expansion.
yeah,
Yeah. But kidding aside, so let's focus on the 32 years. So if
yeah.
there is a newbie today in front of you who is thinking of going to Australia as a Filipina or somebody from Thailand, and would like to start what you started, what will be that one word or a definition that you will tell that lady that she must do? I mean, not 10, but only one, and she will be okay. Going to Australia, pursuing HR. I just want to know what is that specific one action or trait that she must have in herself to pursue what you did in Australia in HR.
One thing is self-confidence, really. As HR, you present yourself all the time. You present yourself by giving out what you know and what you want people to know. So in order to do that, you should have your self-confidence. Talking about self-confidence, develop yourself. Develop your self-confidence in order to have that confidence in talking to people. What works for me may not work for others though. That's why I wouldn't say I would like to give advice. However, if I am to give
Given an
advice to other
opportunity to just
Filipinos,
pick a trait.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's really endurance.
Endurance.
Yeah, because if you don't have that, the difference in the Australian society, when we talk about society, integrating into that kind of society, and you came from a different country, different society, of course, and especially in my case, I grew up in an island. There's really a transition, a lot of transition in my life, by the way. I grew up in an island. For 15 years, I stayed there. After 15 years, I moved to Manila. That's a city lifestyle. Yeah. And then from there, I got married and like that and moved to Australia later on because of the change in my family circumstances, as I told you earlier. So that transition, you would imagine what I have endured. So endurance really is one thing. Again, what works for me may not work for others. However, to me, that's the best thing that I have in my heart that I continue having, not just when going to Australia from the Philippines, but also in moving forward with life and, making sure that we maintain what we have.
Endurance is very deep. And when I
Yeah.
look at the face of Inka and even Rem and even myself now in the mirror, it's like that is probably the unique, sustainable, competitive advantage of people today. Endurance. You
Yeah.
can be the most confident person in the room. Like Inka can go inside a boardroom full of HR. I can go inside a boardroom full of finance, executives. I have the confidence, but I will always receive, like disapprovals, not only from their faces, but their comments, social media, your bosses. But if you don't have endurance, you only have confidence. Confidence can be broken at any time, but endurance, it lasts.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I even couldn't believe it that I did that without knowing. I had that without knowing. Again, from the island life, the transition. Anyway, yeah, and it's
Yeah.
because of that. Yeah.
Yeah, when you mention about island life, I kind of relate because I also grew up on an island. And then
Oh,
yes, and moved to the Manila uh, to study and work. But yeah, so Miss Nora, you've been, doing this HR thing. You're an HR professional for 32 years. I'm curious to know what is your goal or any other aspiration as an HR professional?
really just to help to help other people now. My first I just really want to be a mentor.
Mm.
And my first the first person that I have mentored is my daughter, Pauline. Oh, if Pauline would watch this. First, growing up, all Pauline could hear from me was that, it should really be good if you also do HR.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure at that time Paulina would just be, what are you talking about, mommy? In the Philippines. And then even when she took up psychology as well, it was I'll just take this anyway, without really knowing whether she should do what I wanted her to do. Although nowadays parents really don't tell children anymore, oh, you should be like this, you should be a doctor, you should be like that. But because but because I just wanted really to have someone that I could mentor, that I could guide and all that. although there were opportunities, and she was a free child to do what she wanted to do. She landed in an HR job as
And
well. So
HR.
she is my mini me. So she is my mini me now. She would call me, "Mommy, here's the situation," like that. So and I'm grateful to have someone that I could mentor, because it is also part of my achievement, imparting what I have, what I know to someone. So my first, the first one is my daughter, Paula. I just want to be a mentor, if that's what you want. My daughter is an example for my mentoring. She's very. I believe I have been very helpful to her, and she's very appreciative of that. Sharing my knowledge really is something. Sharing my knowledge is something, but really no more, because look at me, 32 years, and I think I've got to that point where I believe I've already done what I wanted to do anyway in the field of HR. Being part of an organization where I am able to be valuable. I'm able to be valuable because I started with being a part of a team, 32 years ago, being part of a team, to managing or leading a team, to being a business partner, to being part of the senior management team, to, and now just mentoring is what would fulfill me, like, but by fulfill my dreams. And if you ask me what my dreams are, my remaining dreams are, it's really more of, I would be able to fulfill that by mentoring people, other people. Yeah.
Agree. Yeah, I think you're cut and made to do mentoring. However, before we end this conversation, we are enjoying. I can see Marinka's smile, and I'm sure Rem is also, smiling the background. But I think our question to you is, so out of all these HR qualities and leadership and 32 years, what do you do when you're not working? What's your
Now I
favorite thing
love
to do? Is it spa, eating adobo? What do you do? I'm just
eating
curious.
adobo.
Eating
Um,
adobo.
and I love inviting people to our place. I love spending time now with people that I couldn't spend time with before, because I needed to concentrate on making sure that I have full-time job, making sure that I do things the for the house with my husband and all that. I do things for my daughter, my family. Now I am at that point where I want to invite people. I want to be with friends. Um, in the past, let's say in the past 20 years, if I had
You will do
30
that.
years, for sure you can relate to this. Your
We
30,
can.
your 30 friends, now
We
only
can.
five, because
Yeah.
you just became very busy.
Hi.
They were also busy with their life, with their, families and all
The
that.
rat
So
race.
your 20 friends became only five friends now, but those I
Exactly.
really want to value them, their time, spending time with them. Now is the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Yep.
agree. I agree. And we
Yeah.
are already on that stage. We're in, we just keep 1, 2, 4 quality friends, especially the pandemic, right? Especially in
Yes.
America, where I'm friend to Inca, but it will take you highways and 1 week of, planning and trolley and packing just to be with her in Oregon. Even if we're in the same, like the same Pacific Northwest, but it will take you miles and miles
Yep.
journey,
Yes.
right? Cannot just go to Starbucks and meet you tomorrow morning in your pajamas. So thank you,
Uh,
Miss Nora, for the time. Great insights, your bubbly attitude. You sound to be really like in authority when it comes to implementation, implementing HR, rules. And, we enjoy it. Thank you for being with us today.
Yep.
Thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. And also thank you for reaching out to me, Miss Rima, Miss Ria, Miss Inka. Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure to be with you. It's my pleasure to share what I know. Yeah, with you. All right.
Thank you so much, Miss Nora. I hope we have more time.
I
Actually, I
know.
ask you a lot of questions about the HR world. Like dealing with people, because that's what I do also, again, in my line of work. So hopefully we'll have another session, or maybe I can reach out to you if you don't mind, because you want to be a mentor. So maybe I can, like, get some tips and tricks, like, because HR management, right? It's pretty much the same, right? So I think managing people and dealing people is one of the difficult part. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, I mean, based on my experience, it's not an easy task, like dealing with people, because everyone is different, like Miss Nora mentioned, right? So yeah.
Correct.
So again, Miss Nora, thank you so much. I hope we can have another session, as I mentioned. And for all our listeners, thank you for tuning in to Empowered Pinay Beyond Borders. Join us next time for more inspiring stories of Filipina professional breaking barriers and making difference. So always remember, life is what you make it. Thank you.
Thank you,
Goodbye.
guys. Thank you, Miss
Thank
Nora.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.